Hello, wonderful viewers. Dr. Jessica Lee here, and I'm delighted you've joined me today for this important conversation about your health and well-being. If you're over 65 or even approaching that wonderful milestone, this video was made especially for you. Today, I want to talk about something that many of us don't realize, how the foods we eat in the evening can dramatically impact our health, energy levels, and even how quickly we age. What we put on our plates after 6 p.m. can either support our vitality or accelerate the aging process in ways many don't realize. I've spent over 20 years studying the unique health needs of adults in their golden years, and I've discovered that small strategic changes, particularly to evening eating habits, can create remarkable differences in how we feel, how we function, and how we age. In the next few minutes, I'll share 7 critical insights about evening nutrition that could transform your health journey. Each point comes from extensive research and my work with thousands of patients who have experienced remarkable improvements by making these simple adjustments. But first, I want you to know something important. Regardless of your current health status, it's never too late to make positive changes. The human body has an amazing capacity for renewal at any age, and the choices you make today, yes, even tonight, can meaningfully impact your health tomorrow and in the years ahead. So let's dive into these 7 crucial points about evening eating habits that anyone over 65 should know about. I'll explain exactly which foods to avoid after 6 p.m., why timing matters so much for your body, and what to eat instead for better health, more energy, and to support your cognitive function. The 7 evening eating principles for adults over 65. 1. Avoid high sodium foods after 6 p.m. They disrupt your heart health. One of the most important evening eating principles revolves around sodium intake. Foods high in sodium consumed in the evening can significantly impact your cardiovascular health overnight. Consider my patient Martha, who at 72 had been experiencing increased blood pressure and uncomfortable fluid retention, particularly noticeable when she woke up in the mornings. Her evening routine typically included convenient microwavable meals, canned soups, or takeout, all notoriously high in sodium. Her blood pressure readings were consistently concerning at her morning appointments. Compare this to Richard, also 72, who had made it a habit to prepare fresh, low sodium meals for his evening dining. Despite having a similar health history to Martha, Richard's morning blood pressure readings were considerably lower and more stable. When Martha eliminated high sodium foods after 6 p.m., specifically processed foods, deli meats, canned soups, and salty snacks like pretzels and chips, the results were remarkable. Within just 3 weeks, her morning blood pressure readings improved, and the uncomfortable swelling in her ankles had noticeably diminished. The science behind this is clear. Consuming high sodium foods in the evening leads to water retention overnight, placing additional stress on your heart while you sleep. This stress can elevate blood pressure and create unnecessary cardiovascular strain precisely during the hours when your body should be restoring and healing. Actionable advice: replace evening high sodium foods with fresh vegetables, lean proteins prepared with herbs and spices instead of salt, and unsalted nuts if you need a snack. A simple rule of thumb is to check nutrition labels and avoid anything with more than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving for evening meals. To eliminate added sugars in the evening, they accelerate cognitive aging. The relationship between evening sugar consumption and cognitive health is particularly important for those over 65. Evening desserts, sweetened beverages, and hidden sugars can significantly impact brain health during sleep. Let me tell you about Gerald, 68, who had developed a habit of enjoying ice cream and cookies every evening while watching television. Over time, he began experiencing alarming memory lapses and difficulty concentrating during the day. His family was concerned about early signs of cognitive decline. Contrast this with Eleanor, 70, who satisfied her sweet cravings with a small serving of berries or a square of dark chocolate in the early evening. Despite being 2 years older than Gerald, Eleanor maintained remarkable mental sharpness and cognitive agility. When Gerald committed to eliminating added sugars after 6 p.m. for 2 months, his family noticed significant improvements in his memory recall and mental clarity. His morning fog lifted, and he reported feeling mentally sharper throughout the day. The mechanism is fascinating. Consuming sugary foods in the evening triggers inflammation in the brain overnight, precisely when your brain should be performing essential maintenance and memory consolidation. Additionally, these foods can disrupt the quality of sleep, which is a critical time for cognitive restoration. Research has shown that chronic evening sugar consumption is associated with accelerated cognitive aging and increased risk for dementia. Actionable advice: satisfy evening sweet cravings with small portions of berries, which contain natural sugars plus beneficial antioxidants. If you must have dessert, consume it right after dinner rather than as a late evening snack, and stick to portions no larger than the size of your palm. Gradually train your palate to appreciate less sweetness by reducing sugar in evening consumption over time. 3. Avoid caffeinated beverages after midday. They undermine restorative sleep. Many don't realize that caffeine consumed even in the afternoon can significantly disrupt sleep quality for older adults whose bodies metabolize caffeine more slowly than in younger years. Consider Doris, 75, who enjoyed tea throughout the day and often had a cup after dinner. Despite going to bed at a reasonable hour, she would wake frequently during the night and feel unrested in the morning. Her energy levels throughout the day were consistently low, and she relied on naps that further disrupted her nighttime sleep. Compare this to William, 77, who implemented a strict no caffeine after noon rule. Despite being 2 years older than Doris, William experienced consistent restorative sleep and maintained impressive energy levels throughout his day, allowing him to pursue his passion for gardening and volunteer work. When Doris eliminated all sources of caffeine, including tea, coffee, certain sodas, and even chocolate, after 12 p.m., the impact was transformative. Within a week, she began sleeping through the night and waking naturally refreshed. Her daytime energy levels stabilized, eliminating the need for naps, and she reported feeling years younger. The science is clear. Caffeine has a half-life of approximately 5 to 7 hours in adults under 65, but this extends significantly in older adults, sometimes to 10-12 hours. This means caffeine consumed at 3 p.m. may still be active in your system at 1 a.m., blocking adenosine receptors that signal sleepiness and disrupting your ability to fall and stay asleep. Quality sleep becomes increasingly crucial as we age, as it's during deep sleep that the brain clears accumulated waste products, including those associated with cognitive decline. Poor sleep quality is now recognized as a major risk factor for accelerated aging. Actionable advice: establish a firm cutoff time for all caffeinated beverages, including tea, coffee, and chocolate, ideally by noon. Replace afternoon and evening caffeinated drinks with herbal alternatives like chamomile, which actually promotes better sleep, or rooibos tea, which offers antioxidant benefits without caffeine. Be vigilant about hidden sources of caffeine, including certain medications and chocolate desserts. Or skip alcohol near bedtime. It disrupts critical brain restoration. Many adults enjoy an evening alcoholic beverage as a way to relax, but the impact on sleep quality and overnight brain function can be significant for those over 65. Take James, 69, who had developed a routine of having 2 glasses of wine with dinner and often a nightcap before bed. Though he fell asleep quickly, James would wake around 3 a.m. and struggled to return to sleep. Over time, he began experiencing noticeable memory issues and reduced cognitive processing speed that concerned his family. Contrast this with Patricia, 71, who limited alcohol to special occasions and never within 3 hours of bedtime. Despite being older than James, Patricia maintained impressive cognitive function and woke feeling refreshed and mentally sharp. When James committed to eliminating his evening wine and nightcap for 1 month, the results were remarkable. His sleep became more continuous, morning brain fog dissipated, and both he and his family noticed improvements in his memory and cognitive processing. Here's what happens. While alcohol may help you fall asleep initially, it severely disrupts REM sleep, the phase critical for memory consolidation and cognitive restoration. Additionally, as alcohol metabolizes during the night, it creates a stimulant effect that causes sleep fragmentation during the second half of the night. For older adults whose sleep architecture is already changing, this disruption can have more severe consequences than for younger individuals. Research now suggests that regular evening alcohol consumption is associated with accelerated brain volume loss in adults over 65, essentially speeding up brain aging. It also interferes with the glymphatic system, which clears waste products from the brain during sleep. Actionable advice: if you choose to consume alcohol, do so earlier in the evening before 6 p.m. and follow each alcoholic drink with a full glass of water. Consider limiting alcohol to 1-2 days per week rather than daily consumption. For relaxation before bed, replace alcoholic beverages with calming herbal teas like passion flower or valerian root, which actually support quality sleep rather than disrupting it. 5. Avoid heavy proteins after 6 p.m. They tax digestive systems and disrupt sleep. The digestion of heavy protein-rich meals late in the evening can place significant stress on older digestive systems and interfere with quality sleep. Consider Robert, 73, who typically ate a large steak or protein-heavy meal late in the evening, often after 7 p.m. He frequently experienced heartburn, indigestion, and would wake multiple times during the night. His energy levels the following day were consistently low, and he struggled with mid-afternoon fatigue. Compare this to Margaret, 75, who adopted a light dinner approach, consuming her protein-rich meals earlier in the day and opting for lighter fare like vegetable soups, small portions of fish, or plant-based meals in the evening. Despite being 2 years older than Robert, Margaret reported more consistent energy levels, better digestion, and more restorative sleep. When Robert shifted his protein consumption to earlier in the day and switched to lighter evening meals, his sleep quality improved dramatically within 2 weeks. Morning fatigue disappeared, his digestion normalized, and his overall energy level stabilized throughout the day. Here's why this matters. Digesting protein-rich foods requires significant energy and enzymatic activity, which naturally decreases in the evening as your body prepares for sleep. For adults over 65 who often experience reduced digestive enzyme production, this evening digestive burden can be particularly taxing. Heavy evening protein consumption forces your digestive system to work overtime during hours when your body should be focused on restoration and repair. This digestive activity raises core body temperature and metabolic rate when both should be decreasing for optimal sleep. Research shows that this disruption to the natural circadian rhythm of digestion can accelerate various aspects of aging, particularly in the gut microbiome, which plays a critical role in overall health and immunity. Actionable advice: shift your protein consumption to breakfast and lunch, aiming to consume approximately 25-30 grams of protein at these earlier meals. For evening meals after 6 p.m., focus on easily digestible options like vegetable soups, steamed vegetables with a small portion of fish, no larger than the palm of your hand, or plant-based meals with gentle proteins like lentils or a small amount of tofu. If you must have animal protein in the evening, choose lighter options like poultry or fish rather than red meat, and keep portions modest. 6. Eliminate inflammatory foods in the evening. They accelerate joint aging. Many adults over 65 experience increasing joint discomfort and stiffness, particularly upon waking. The connection between evening food choices and morning mobility is stronger than most realize. Consider Helen, 67, who regularly consumed foods like tomatoes, eggplant, bell peppers, and white potatoes in her evening meals. She experienced significant morning stiffness, taking nearly an hour to loosen up her joints each day, and she required pain medication most mornings. Contrast this with David, 71, who had eliminated nightshade vegetables and other inflammatory foods from his evening meals. Despite being 4 years older than Helen, David woke with notably less stiffness and maintained better mobility throughout his day without reliance on pain medications. When Helen eliminated nightshades and other inflammatory foods from her evening meals for 3 weeks, she experienced a remarkable reduction in morning stiffness and joint discomfort. Her need for pain medication decreased significantly, and her overall mobility improved. The science behind this is compelling. Certain foods, particularly those in the nightshade family, contain compounds called alkaloids that can trigger inflammatory responses in sensitive individuals. This inflammation is often more pronounced when these foods are consumed in the evening because inflammation naturally increases during the night as part of your body's circadian rhythm. For individuals with existing inflammatory conditions like arthritis, this nighttime elevation can make morning joint stiffness significantly worse. Additionally, refined carbohydrates, sugary foods, and certain oils consumed in the evening can trigger inflammatory cascades that peak during early morning hours, precisely when many people with arthritis experience their worst symptoms. Actionable advice. For 3 weeks, eliminate nightshade vegetables, tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, bell peppers, refined carbohydrates, and processed oils from your evening meals. Instead, incorporate anti-inflammatory evening foods like leafy greens, cherries, blueberries, fatty fish rich in omega-3s, and turmeric. Keep a simple journal noting your morning mobility and discomfort levels to track improvements. Many find that this evening dietary adjustment alone can significantly reduce their need for morning pain medications. 7, avoid fasting too long. Overnight, it can accelerate muscle loss. The final principle addresses the often overlooked timing between your evening meal and breakfast, which can significantly impact muscle preservation for adults over 65. Meet Thomas, 76, who had embraced popular advice about intermittent fasting, often going 16 plus hours between his evening meal, usually around 5 p.m., and breakfast the next day, around 9 a.m. Despite regular light exercise, Thomas had experienced accelerated muscle loss and increasing frailty over the past year. Compare this to Sylvia, 78, who maintained a consistent 10-12 hour overnight fasting window, having her evening meal around 6 p.m. and breakfast by 7 a.m. Despite being 2 years older than Thomas, Sylvia preserved significantly better muscle mass and functional strength. When Thomas adjusted his eating schedule to include a protein-rich small evening snack around 8 p.m. and an earlier breakfast at 7 a.m., reducing his fasting window to 11 hours, the results were compelling. Over 3 months, his muscle strength assessments improved, and he reported better energy and functional capacity for daily activities. Here's the science. While intermittent fasting can offer benefits for younger adults, extended overnight fasting periods can be detrimental for those over 65. This is because older adults already experience anabolic resistance, a decreased ability to synthesize muscle from protein, and overnight muscle breakdown increases with age. Extended fasting periods can accelerate sarcopenia, the age loss of muscle mass that contributes significantly to frailty and loss of independence. Research indicates that muscle protein synthesis is better supported in older adults with more evenly distributed protein intake throughout the day, including during the evening hours. A moderate length overnight fast, 10 to 12 hours, appears optimal for most adults over 65, balancing the benefits of fasting with the importance of muscle preservation. Actionable advice: limit your overnight fasting period to 10-12 hours rather than extending beyond this. If you eat dinner early before 6 p.m., consider a small protein-rich snack about 2 hours before bed, such as a quarter cup of cottage cheese, a small handful of nuts, or a hard-boiled egg. Then aim to consume breakfast within an hour of waking, ensuring it contains at least 25-30 grams of quality protein. This approach supports muscle maintenance while still providing a beneficial fasting period for cellular repair. The power of evening eating choices. As we've explored these 7 principles, I hope you've recognized that the choices you make about evening eating are far more consequential than most realize, especially after age 65. Your evening nutrition decisions don't just affect how you feel in the moment, they impact how you'll feel tomorrow morning and can significantly influence how you age over time. The beautiful truth is that your body maintains remarkable responsiveness to positive changes at any age. I've witnessed patients in their 80s and even 90s experience significant improvements in energy, cognitive function, joint comfort, and overall vitality by implementing these evening eating principles. Remember Martha, who lowered her blood pressure by avoiding evening sodium? Gerald, who improved his cognitive function by eliminating evening sugars, Doris, who transformed her sleep quality by cutting afternoon caffeine. Their stories and countless others I've witnessed demonstrate that it's never too late to make meaningful changes. Let me emphasize that these principles aren't about deprivation or rigid restrictions. They're about strategic timing and thoughtful choices that honor your body's changing needs. The goal isn't perfection, but progress. Small, consistent adjustments that accumulate into significant health improvements. I encourage you to choose just one of these principles to implement this week. Notice how you feel upon waking, track your energy levels throughout the day, and pay attention to changes in how your body feels. Many of my patients report noticeable improvements within days, with more substantial benefits emerging over weeks. If you've found this information valuable, please help me share these important principles with others who might benefit. Take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more evidence-based health wisdom specifically designed for adults in their golden years. I'd love to hear about your experiences implementing these principles. Which one will you try first? Have you already noticed benefits from changing your evening eating habits? Share your thoughts, questions, or successes in the comments below. Your input might inspire someone else on their health journey. Remember, the choices you make tonight can influence how you feel tomorrow, and the habits you establish today can significantly impact your health for years to come. You deserve to experience vibrant health and energy in these precious years, and mindful evening eating is a powerful tool to help you achieve exactly that. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Until next time, this is Dr. Jessica Lee wishing you vibrant health and joyful longevity. Disclaimer, the information in this video is educational in nature and should not replace personalized medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your diet or lifestyle, particularly if you have existing health conditions or take medications that may be affected by dietary changes.